All right. We will see. Okay. So take two. Now, last night we actually watched a movie, not in a theater. We didn't go to a theater or anything. Now, I bought this movie weeks ago, and we finally watched it, and that was Birds of Prey, the great emancipation of Harley Quinn. Basically a Harley Quinn movie. Very Harley Quinn centered. Okay,
Yes.
now you've watched Suicide Squad. Did you like this better or not as much as Suicide Squad?
I'm trying to remember Suicide Squad.
So
It was super
you
memorable
you
for
liked
me.
it more then.
I think so.
Will
I
Smith
don't
was
remember
playing
really
in
liking.
Suicide Squad.
I don't really remember liking Suicide Squad.
They're all villains and they're all joined together, and Batman's in it for like 2 seconds. And
Yeah.
Jared Leto was Joker, and
I remember that part.
busts her
and
out of
him
prison.
being
And
terrible.
it's a very, the one thing I noticed right away was the way they drew Joker in the animated parts. It was the old fashioned Joker. I was like, okay, all right, so they're going with the old fashioned Joker here. We're gonna pretend the Jared Leto Joker didn't really happen. We're gonna take that out of there as quickly as possible. And of course, it starts with her and Joker having broken up. Well, he threw her out.
Yeah.
It would appear that he broke up with her, and I thought it was good. What did you think?
I didn't think it was too bad. I mean, there were parts that were a bit too violent for me.
It does get pretty grim.
There were, there
The
not
face
too
cutting
many.
parts.
Not too many.
They didn't show the face cutting, but you got the
But there were
impression of what the
definitely
face
parts
cutting was
that I
going
looked
on.
away.
Yeah.
So I don't like that part.
I did like when she jumped on the guy's legs, though, and they felt they went backwards. Legs aren't supposed to bend that way. That's not how it's supposed to work for humans. I thought that was great. And I thought Margot Robbie, she is Harley Quinn now. I can't imagine anybody else in that role. I understand Kaylee Cuoco plays her in the cartoons, but I can't see her playing it. I can't see Penny in the movies being Harley Quinn. I just can't. Can't picture that. But, enjoyable. So they had, of course, Huntress in there, and they had Black Canary and her singing ability to break glass. And
That's not a thing. But, okay.
and okay, so the one thing in the movie that I'm on the fence with is Ewan McGregor's villain. To me, he felt like a poor man's version of Joker. Like, his character just didn't. There were a lot of similarities I felt with Joker, except he wasn't quite as menacing. They tried to make him really menacing, but then they had the army of nobodies that didn't have faces.
The weird clowns
Yeah.
in the funhouse.
Yeah. The funhouse fight was great.
See,
that was classic
some
DC.
things that when watching movies like this that I don't know if I'm not quite getting it because I'm not a comics person. I don't know the
I didn't know his character either. I didn't know his character
I don't
I
care. I used to watch the old Batman. You know, the kapow.
He definitely wasn't in the old Batman.
I watched that when I was little, so that's my knowledge of a lot of these superheroes,
Yeah. And the interesting thing to me was Birds of Prey aren't together for very long in this movie.
No, it's like it makes it seem like this is just the beginning cuz it's just sets up Birds of Prey, and at the very end and here they are.
And yet,
so it could be
the movie.
It looks like this is the first.
The movie didn't do very well in the theaters, so we'll see whether or not there are sequels to this. But
that's what it looked like, right?
Yeah,
because the movie wasn't about Birds of Prey; it was about the
Harley.
Setup of Birds of Prey,
and mostly Harley.
Which because she was the catalyst in it coming together, even though I don't think she's actually a part of it. Right?
At the end, she's not one of the Birds of Prey. She's not one of them.
Birds of Prey like a group that's in the comics?
Yes.
Is she a part of that?
And on TV. And I'm pretty sure she's in the comics on TV. I don't think so. I think it was Batwoman that was in Birds of Prey. I want to say I think it was Batwoman that was in Birds of Prey.
Because I could see
But
that
I'm thinking
being
way back.
the beginning of another set of stupid amounts of superhero
I think
type
that was the
movies.
plan. I think that's why when they did the casting, they brought in Rosie Perez, who's older. She was the cop.
Oh, okay.
And they brought in pretty good actresses to play the roles rather than your standard comic books where the acting's one thing, but their hotness is really a lot of what it is.
Yes.
And in this one, it felt like they shied away from that and they went more towards acting and ability to
carry the role.
Yeah, and the physicality, and to be believable for the physicality of the role. So I felt like they tried something different, and sadly, it I don't think it worked out. And now there's the new Suicide Squad movie coming out.
Oh, is there?
There's another Suicide Squad movie coming out, and then there's the Batman movie coming out after that.
Another one?
Yeah, but this time,
how many Batman movies?
This time they've changed
Batman
who plays Batman again.
Again.
Yeah, Robert Pattinson is Batman now.
I recognize the name. Who's that?
He's Edward from Twilight.
Oh.
He's a very good actor, and even he mocked Twilight after it came out.
Sparkle?
No. And he mocked that after the movies were done. He mocked that while I think it was just a paycheck for him, the Twilight movies. And he's a very good actor. I've seen him in other movies, and he's very good. So I think he'll be a good Batman, but Ben Affleck didn't last as Batman, and that's after Christian Bale had been Batman, which was after Val Kilmer was Batman, which was before George Clooney was Batman, and Val Kilmer was right after Michael Keaton as Batman.
It's a lot of Batman.
There's a lot of Batman. And of course, the voice for the series was somebody completely different as well. So, like in Titans, they've brought in Bruce Wayne in Titans that we're watching, and he actually does the voice for Batman in some of the cartoons.
Oh, that's fun.
So, and of course, Joker in the cartoons is played by Mark Hamill. And I knew that. Fantastic. He's absolutely amazing. But I think...
Anyway, side note to say that I don't know the storylines at all, so some of it I didn't quite understand if I didn't know what was going on because they weren't showing it and like they assumed that we already knew.
The one thing that threw me was, that hyena's dead. I don't understand how the hyena lived.
Could have jumped out the window.
No, it was in the explosion. It was in the explosion, so I'm left to believe it's a Terminator.
Well, hyena, Terminator.
But it was pretty obvious that was CGI and that it was actually a dog that they had CGI'd.
Yes, it looked kind of like a dog with like
I'm thinking fluff. I'm thinking a golden retriever, something like that.
No, like a German Shepherd.
You think it was a German Shepherd?
Yeah.
I don't know. I haven't watched any of the special features or anything, so I don't know what they did that with, but it felt like there was an actual animal there, but it definitely was not a hyena. If you watch this, you cannot domesticate a hyena. It's not possible. They will kill you and everything you love. They are not there to laugh. They make a laughing noise. They're not fun animals. The weird thing to me is I don't remember in any comic lore or anything her having a hyena. I remember, obviously the mallet is her signature weapon. The baseball bat I remember as well. The weapons she uses in this movie, they're great. And I think the fact she stays away from using guns, she only uses a gun once in the movie, and I was keeping an eye on that. So it shows her as being kind of an underdog. And yeah, the fight scenes were, I thought, pretty well executed. And again, I do wonder, like, maybe there's something people expect from DC movies that they're not going to get. They're never going to be as epic as the Marvel movies. I don't think that's going to happen. I enjoyed it. I think you enjoyed it as well.
Yeah, it wasn't bad for... does it count as a superhero movie?
Kind of, except they're all villains.
Right, is it a super... I don't generally really like superhero movies.
Well, this was a villain movie.
Some of them are kind of entertaining, but for the most part, I just think there's way too many of them. So, for a superhero-ish movie, it wasn't bad.
I thought there were some little details that were good. She always referred to him as Mr. J. She didn't call him Puddin at all in this movie because they broke up, but Mr. J was mentioned a lot.
She
And
did refer to him as Puddin a few times.
at the start.
Yes.
And then I just again I think Margot Robbie owns that role now. And man, the costuming in this was on point. Like she had some really amazing looking outfits. And the big difference, of course, between Suicide Squad and this one is she's not like half undressed throughout the whole movie like she was with Suicide Squad.
Their bum falling out.
Yeah.
That's
So this
not
this one
realistic.
this
I
one
hate
she
it
was
when they do
still
that in movies.
this one
I
she
really
was
do.
still dressed flamboyantly, but she was covered up. And even when she's wearing the shorts, she's still wearing leggings. She's still covered from head to toe. And yet
she wouldn't fall out when she does her crazy flips and stuff.
yeah.
It's so unrealistic. How they do that in movies, it's slightly irritating. They make women wear these outfits where their like boobs are just barely taped in.
Yeah.
Like if you tried to do any kind of acrobats, they'd fall out. Even if you bent over to pick something up, you would fall out.
That might be what the nerd boys are waiting for. That might be what they're and some of the ladies, am I right? Anyways, but yeah, I did like her outfits. I really liked that jacket she had that all the multicolored fringe on it.
And it had police tape.
Yes.
Did you notice
that was really cool. And then she had that yellow jumper as well that had all the Harley Quinn type design on it.
Yeah,
that was
like,
really
romper.
really cool. Yeah, that was a really cool outfit as well. And yeah, I mean I thought it was a good movie. If you haven't seen it, I recommend it. The only down point to me was I think Ewan McGregor's capable of a lot more than I thought they gave him. That character really wasn't a character. He was just Mr. Bad Guy. We never found out a backstory. We never found out a whole lot about him other than he was rich, he was whiny, and he was psychotic. And that's it. That's the whole character. But other than that, but then again, it was a movie centered around women.
Yeah, and I think it was a setup movie. And so he was just like what was helping them get set up, but the movie, the story was actually
what I couldn't figure out was
on him.
So they know they're going to have the fight in the building, right? So when they got all these weapons and they see them all outside, why don't they just shoot them outside while they're up top? They have the high ground and they could have taken some of them out before they even got in the building.
Because they can't do as many special effects that way.
It would have been a lot quicker.
Right.
Just get some grenade launchers and get her done. Then it's all over with. While he's making his little speech to his dude friends, just grenade launch right in the middle of that. You're all done. No problem. I found that odd.
They do silly stuff like that in movies all the time.
And why didn't he give all of the guys guns? Would have been much, much quicker battle if he'd just given all of them guns. But it was just, here, go in and kick them a lot. And if you're going to shoot, make sure you miss. It's a bad guy thing, I guess. Going back to G.I. Joe days. But anyways, I'd be interested to know what you guys thought of Birds of Prey, the immaculate conception of Harley Quinn, the
Emancipation.
Forensic acquisition of Harley Quinn.
Very different thing. Very different thing.
The Technicolor Dreamcoat of Harley Quinn.
Well, that would be a fun version.
So a lot
more songs.
The funny thing too is if you took the swearing out of this, it would have been a PG-13 movie.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the and some of the violence was a little over the top, but
more.
You wouldn't have to cut a whole lot out of this to have a PG-13 movie.
Because the violence, it was very short amounts of time.
And I think it probably would have done better in the theaters if it had been PG-13. And I don't think you cut the heart out of the movie if you do that. But I'd be interested to know what you guys think, as always. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe. It's a recommend from me. Is it a recommend from you?
Yeah.
So, there you go.
It could have been a little less violent, but
It's Harley Quinn.
It was such little tiny bits where it didn't seem necessary.
That's Harley.
Because it was only seconds. Like if you put all of the what I considered over the top gory, like not necessary, it wasn't even a minute of that goriness. I don't think it was needed. And so it would have been so easy to not have it like that.
Yeah, Harley's...
So it seemed unnecessary for the rest of the movie not being like that, to just have those little parts. Mm-hmm.
Harley's still my favorite of the villains. We'll see whether or not there's more movies with her in them. I certainly hope so. And not just Suicide Squad, but maybe a solo movie or another Birds of Prey where she gets together. It'd be nice to see a movie now with them all together right from the start. And start with them together, and maybe they're up against Batman for something, or maybe you throw in Robin, or maybe you bring in the Titans. I don't know, something. Do something different with it. Anyways, let me know what you guys thought if you saw it. Hit like and subscribe if you're browsing way through you just happened upon this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.